Hi, welcome to Life Unravelled, where we unravel life's little mysteries. Today we're talking about numbers. Now, numbers are a big part of our life, and it's really important that children understand not just the name of the number, but the concept of what a number is and what each of the number represents. And it can be a little bit daunting and it can be a little bit tricky, but if the children can understand this before they start school, then they will find school so much easier. So let's get into the nitty-gritty. Numbers are everywhere, so we really need to get used to numbers and what each of the number represents. So start counting. Count with your kids right from when they're tiny babies. I can remember I used to sit mine on the kitchen bench while I was chopping up things, making sure that they were safe and away from the knife. But I would count my cucumbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. And even now, I'm still counting cucumbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. When you're giving them different food that they can eat, you can say, would you like 1 or 2? And then you can give them 2 or give them 1. And that way they start to understand what the value of that number is. When you're looking at just playing in general, you can start talking about the different numbers that you're dealing with. If you're wanting to play with 2 toys or with 3 toys, or, oh look, here are 7 soft toys. Are we going to have a tea party with our 7 soft toys? Looking at cups and would you like 1 drink? And so they understand that 1 drink is that one thing that they're going to get. You can talk about, would you like 3 pieces of carrot? And so then they're really understanding that what the value of the number 3 is. And that value, that understanding, that representation of that value of the number is one of the most important parts of mathematics. So make sure that you really give the children an understanding of the representation of the number. I remember a story where my friend had 18 steps that they had to climb up to bed every night. And so every night they would go 1, 2, 3, 4. And they could count all the way up to 18, which was fantastic. But then when they were asked to count to 20, they didn't know 19 and 20. So make sure that you don't stop at just 10 or 20 and you actually keep going, because they will start to understand the rhythm of counting and the value of the numbers. Another great thing to do is to introduce all of the different numbers through rhymes and songs. This is a great one. 5 little speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious lunch, yum, yum. 1 jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Then there were 4 speckled frogs. And the book goes on. 4 little speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious lunch, yum, yum. 1 jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Then there were 3 speckled frogs. And you can see again, just like we're using with the 5 little ducks, we're doing subtraction, and then you can start doing addition as well. And you can see that there are 5 ducks up on the log and 5 ducks in the pond. And you can open a conversation with your kids about how many there are, how many frogs there are, and the value of frogs. You can start talking to them about there's 5 plus 5, and that's 10 altogether. And that mathematical language is what will help your child do well at school. We need them to understand all the different ways that we can say addition, sums, and number sentences. And I have a whole course on that, so we'll make sure that you understand that really well. But just for now, when we're talking about numbers, this is a great way that we can introduce these. You'll find a list of really good nursery rhymes for numbers on the handouts with this course. Another one I love to sing to kids is 1, 2, buckle my shoe, 3, 4, knock at the door, 5, 6, pick up sticks, 7, 8, lay them straight, 9, 10, a big fat hen. And so what you're seeing is that you're just chanting those numbers. And chanting the numbers gives them that mathematical knowledge of the language. It doesn't tell them, though, what the actual number means. So counting on your fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once I caught a fish alive, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then I let him go again. Why did you let him go? Because he bit my fingers so. Which finger did he bite? This little finger on the right. So that one actually gives them more of an understanding of what the numbers are, counting them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so that they can see their fingers, that this is how many there is. Another great one's Wee Willie Winkie runs through the town, upstairs and downstairs in his nightgown, rapping at the windows, crying through the locks. Are all the children in their bed? For now it's 8 o'clock. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And just repeating those numbers all the time is really good for the kids. Or it could be 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock or whatever time that you would like. And then counting up to that time really introduces that mathematical language of the numbers. Books are also a wealth of information when we're talking about numbers. Dr. Seuss have quite a few books on numbers, but there's also ones like Apple on Top, for instance, like this book here. And it goes through all the different numbers and you can count them, but not only just these books. For instance, The Green Sheep, you could count how many green things you can see, how many blue things you can see on the page. Not just for The Green Sheep, but there's many other books that you can do that with. For instance, The Pig in the Pond. The Pig in the Pond is a great example. Let's count the geese. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 geese and 1 pig. And then you can keep going on the next page and see how many geese are left. Once the kids know what the actual numbers are, so for instance 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you need to get them to apply that knowledge. One of the great ways is through games. Now I love this game. It actually has your plus and all that, which we'll go into later, but they have the numbers here which are written, and they've got a whole heap of sticks. And these sticks, they can then go and get 1 stick or 2 stick or however many, but you don't actually need a game like that. Whoa, whoops. You can just use popsicle sticks. Now I got these from Kmart for $2, and they've got a whole heap of different colours, and then they've got a whole heap of plain ones. And you could get the kids to group them into different colours and find out if they could bring you 2 orange or 4 green or all those sorts of things. And getting them to apply that knowledge is what's really important. Now when they get a little bit older, so sort of around about 4 years old, 3 or 4, you could also look at dice. Now this, I love this. This has the dice inside it. Get them to roll dice and write down the numbers, dominoes is another great game where you can count the dots and match the dots so that you know. This is a packet of dice that I got from the internet, from Wish, and I went through, and it's got not just your 6-sided dice, but it's got 8-sided dice and 20-sided dice. And sometimes when they're a little bit older and you're wanting to look at the value of numbers, it's a really good idea. Now when they're at school, when they're talking about the value of numbers and the place value, they'll look at tens, ones, hundreds, thousands, those sorts of things, and they'll use what they call MAB blocks. And those blocks represent what the number is. You don't have to worry about that at the moment. The best thing for you to do is to be able to get the kids just to understand the value of the number, so how much that number really is in all sorts of many ways. So now they can count and they sort of understand the value of the number. We need to now grow their mathematical concepts. Talk about 1 less or 1 more. Talk about smaller or larger. Is this a larger number or a smaller number? And these different concepts are really important for the children to then be able to go on to new maths concepts such as operations. So how can you do this? Well, pretty much in your everyday life. If you're cooking and you're adding more flour, you can talk about adding more. Should we have 1 more cup of flour or half a cup of sugar? Just the more that you use this language, the easier it is for children to understand these concepts. I can't tell you enough how important understanding the value of the number is, as it's the basis of all mathematical concepts. So if you can teach that to them when they're really little, they're going to be steps ahead of everyone else. Enjoy having fun with them. Just make it part of your everyday life, and the kids will learn and retain so much more when it's full of fun. Enjoy the time with your little one. It goes so quickly, and we'll see you next time.